The 10-day ceasefire is clearing a major obstacle to U.S. peace talks with Iran.
Matt Finn joins us now from Dubai with the details. Matt?
Hey, Lawrence, it is day 5, a full work week of the U.S. blockade out on the Persian Gulf behind me. We have not heard any reports of any major confrontations or incidents. And the latest update from CENTCOM, it says 14 vessels have now heeded the warnings of the United States and complied with the blockade of Iranian ports. Meanwhile, ships not going to or from Iran can pass through the Strait of Hormuz. And here's some audio the U.S. released.
Motor vessel Molly, this is warship 112. We will be escorting you to your next port of call. Thank you for your cooperation. This is warship 112, standing by at channel 16.
President Trump says the U.S. blockade might end up being more powerful than the bombing, as the blockade is estimated to be costing Iran up to hundreds of millions of dollars in losses per day. The president says, believe it or not, the U.S. is on better terms with Iran right now. He thinks a more permanent deal is coming, and the ceasefire may not need to be extended.
I can tell you, maybe it'll happen before that. I'm not sure it needs to be extended. Just so you know, Iran wants to make a deal, and we're dealing very nicely with them. We've got to have no nuclear weapons. If we do, that's a big factor. And they're willing to do things today that they weren't willing to do 2 months ago.
The president also announced a 10-day ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel. The two countries have been at war, at odds for decades. President Trump says he has invited Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the president of Lebanon to the White House for a meeting as well. And here in the Middle East, we are monitoring the increasing potentiality that there will be peace talks in Pakistan. The president said yesterday on the White House lawn that if there is a deal made in Pakistan, he may go there himself. Back to you guys in New York.
So, Matt, have they stopped bombing Hezbollah, too? Or is it a truce with the Lebanese, but they're still going to target Hezbollah? Do you know?
My understanding is that it is a complete ceasefire, that there is no bombing happening right now, Brian. I'm not on the ground there. You know, Trey Yinks is doing excellent reporting from there as well.
Yeah, people were on the streets celebrating. I did see that video. We were showing some of that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
They're still in part of Lebanon. So because they took it, because that's the area that the Hezbollah had occupied that allowed them to bomb the northern part of Israel.
Separation. I mean, from the very beginning of this conflict, the Lebanese government had been telling Hezbollah to stop, like, stop doing this. And so I think what you're seeing now is a coalescing with the administration strategically to put pressure to saying, hey, we're going to work with the American and Israeli government to target the terror cells if they don't stop shooting rockets over.
But I think what's so clear is, for the first time, to have Lebanon and Lebanese leaders and Israeli leaders talk, and then have a ceasefire by saying, just doing that, you're isolating the terror group. Because Hezbollah has representatives run for office in Lebanon, and they'll go into the parliament and they'll say, oh, they're part of the political process, but they're really representing the terror group, which is fully supported by Iran. So now what Israel's been trying to say is, we have traditionally no problem with the Christians that, for the most part, made up Lebanon. And the problem was when Hezbollah came in, financed by Iran, and started bombing us. So the problem was never with you, but we never did that until President Trump picked up the phone and said, guys, let's have a ceasefire. Rubio said, let's have a meeting. So things are changing in real time. Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, the president talked to the president of Lebanon, and he talked to Netanyahu twice. President also is teasing that he might even go to Pakistan to sign this peace deal in person. And the president says that they have agreed to some of the deals, possibly handing over enriched uranium, which would be the goal here. So, and he's, you know, they keep saying we could do this the easy way or the hard way. We heard Pete Hegseth say that yesterday, Secretary of War. And there are threats that if you don't give us the enriched uranium and you don't open up the strait, we could take or destroy Karg Island.
So one nation that has had our back, both with boots on the ground, as well as intelligence when it comes to the Mossad, is Israel. I don't care what podcast tells you this, right or left, that Israel is forcing us to do something. They are our friend in the Middle East, and they have been fighting terror cells for a long time. Well, it looks like Democrats, and this is an editorial from the Wall Street Journal, Democrats are trying to block arms sales to Israel. And here's the quote: Republicans defeated the measure, but 40 of the 47 Democrats voted to advance Mr. Bernie Sanders' resolution blocking the sales of bulldozers, and 36 opposed the sale of 1,000-pound bombs to Israel. Many acknowledge that the bombs could be used in Iran, where Israel has been fighting alongside the United States. Some tried to distinguish between offensive and defensive weapons, with only the latter deemed acceptable. But no defense will be enough if Iran is allowed to amass 10,000 ballistic missiles or nuclear weapons.
When they put up a similar vote about a year ago, there was about 20. Now there's 47, 40 to 47. I'm going to tell you, just so Israel knows this better than us, they know our political system. If Democrats come back into power, Israel's going to be cut off.
Oh, yeah.
They have to start mass manufacturing themselves. And which is crazy is we don't have a better ally on the planet in every way, shape, or form than Israel that is more capable. You know, it's great to have relations with the UK and Europe. They're not capable. This is the pound for pound, along with us, the finest fighting force in the world who have our back and are a democracy. Yeah, they have protests and they have people. You like this prime minister, you don't like that party. That happens. That's called a democracy. But there's this anti-Israel fervor in our country, especially in this city, is so disconcerting. But don't kid yourself. Read your own information. Israel's not responsible for this war. They're not responsible for October 7th. What Gaza was not a genocide. Do your research. This is called fighting back. And we have a chance with Hezbollah and Hamas neutralized, and hopefully our Iran flipping governments and flat on their back to give this whole region a chance at peace. The only thing is, I would say the president was really optimistic yesterday. Reuters is reporting that the Iranians are saying you can use the Strait, but only this Oman side. And they're saying that we're only going to not enrich for 3 years, and we will down blend the uranium. You can't have it. So that's a huge difference. The president should not fly 18 hours if Iran is actually saying that.
He won't. And I would say this, the one development we found out yesterday, and many may have witnessed it on Sean's show, the president is directly involved with the negotiation. He's picking up the phone. There's a reason why his voice is going out, because he's been screaming at them, telling them, okay, this is it. This is it. So the idea that the president was just going to walk away from the table and not get his firm measures done, it's, as you've said the whole show, Ainsley, easy way or the hard way. So.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.